It's time to share secrets and insights from fellow entrepreneurs. If you're looking to grow or start a business and you're a game changer, then keep listening to Avanti Entrepreneur for great advice from your host, Dave Mamano, America's Entrepreneur Coach.
Hey, Avanti Tribe, Dave Mamano here. Just want to thank our sponsor, Paychex. You know, Paychex, they make it simple for businesses of all sizes to pay and manage their team. They make payroll easy with employee pay options, including direct deposit, checks, pay cards, and so much more. Founded over 4 decades ago to relieve the complexity of running a business so that the owners can focus on what matters most. Above all else, and more than any other company, Paychex makes it simple. Visit AvantiEntrepreneurGroup.com. Go to our partner link and check them out. They're offering you a free month of payroll just for giving them a shot as an Avanti Tribe member. Give them a shot, folks. They really help this podcast to be possible. Really appreciate Paychex. Now, enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Avanti Entrepreneur Podcast. I am Dave Mamano, your host, and we are here to help entrepreneurial achievers and business owners and leaders move forward so that they can reach their potential. I do this by interviewing the nation's best business movers and shakers. Today, I have on the show Jeff Koser. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, David. How are you?
I am doing well, Jeff. Hey, I met you. We had an Avanti conference in New York City last year. No, earlier. It was last year. You're right. And you were gracious enough to be a sponsor, and you flew out from Wisconsin to lovely New York City, and you were there. We were there with Ramon Ray, and it was a great conference.
It was.
And so that's where I first met you face to face. I've heard about you for years because I've had this book called Selling to Zebras for a number of years, and you wrote it with Chad Koser. And now is Chad brother?
He's my son.
Your son.
Isn't that awesome?
What a great thing. Well, you've spiked the ball at this point, right?
That's right. Especially after the bowl season. Well, it's not completely over till next Monday, right?
Well, when this comes out, we are pre-recording. When this comes out, football will be over.
Okay. All done.
All done. And the Buffalo Bills won. No, I'm just kidding. We know at this point that they're out, unfortunately, but a great last game of the year. But Jeff, Selling to Zebras. What I want, and so this was a book, and it actually is also your company, right? It's your company, and I'm not going to attempt to describe it, but what Selling to Zebras really does is it partners with your CRM to create, I'll say, the ultimate tool for a salesperson. Is that a good overview?
It's probably a perfect overview. It does partner with CRM. It does things that CRM doesn't do. We really have very little overlap. We turn Salesforce and HubSpot and the other CRMs into autonomous CRMs. How's that for a new one for you?
Sounds good. Yeah. So, I mean, your bio, I like how you say you're the spirited founder of and CEO of Selling to Zebras, which is a software company that helps organizations sell more. And what organization does not want to sell more, right? Your platform helps start each sales engagement in a better place. You've got some great software, which we're going to talk about that. And personally, you have more than 30 years of experience in building businesses, speaking, consulting, executive sales management, business strategy, business development. Previously, you served as COO at the BAN. Is it BAN? B-A-A-N?
Correct.
Supply Chain Solutions VP of Sales at the European powerhouse ERP company called BAN. Under your leadership, BAN revenues grew more than tenfold in fewer than 5 years to over $800 million in annual revenue. All right, that's nothing to sneeze at. Congratulations, Jeff. So now we know that you have the proof behind the pudding. Great experience. You made it happen. So we know that you know how to sell and know how to manage. What inspired you to come up with the idea for Selling to Zebras?
Well, it really was Amal Johnson, who was one of the executives. She was a board member at Bond. She was the president of Bond USA at the time. And she left and she joined a venture capital company called Lightspeed Venture Partners. And she got us involved. She got me personally involved with some of her clients. And it really kind of grew from there.
Great. So our Avanti entrepreneur listeners, our tribe,
I can imagine they're dying to know, okay, I need to sell more. My company, we need to sell more. Jeff, selling the zebras, how are you going to help us do it?
Yeah, so it's one of those things that most sales enablement companies say, right? They help you sell more, but that's hollow. That's a little bit like losing weight. Everybody wants to, right? But there's a lot of ways you can lose weight. You can eat less, you can exercise more, et cetera, right? So sales, so we believe the key to it is you first have to target appropriately, and that's what a zebra is. A zebra is your perfect prospect, and it's based on where you've had success, what problems you uniquely solve, or what value you uniquely create for a client. And then the next piece is when you do solve those problems or create that value, how do you quantify it? What is the actual business case around your solution? So our software actually creates that and helps the seller sell right from the platform. So what I mean by that is, so think playbooks, but think of playbooks as a live environment where you're interacting with a prospect and you're actually showing them something that has been uniquely created for them, rather than canned materials like a white paper that might be relevant but isn't specifically targeted to them. These are presentations and materials that are based on and created from answers that you provide to the software about their business. So it just creates an engagement that's uniquely personal, and it's live. And then when you're done, it updates the CRM for you, which is why we say it creates an autonomous version of your CRM.
That's great. So let's get gritty with it to really, kind of enhance the picture of how someone's going to use this. So let's say that I use Infusionsoft myself.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I use Infusionsoft, Salesforce, HubSpot, right? Could be any of them, right?
Yes.
We were talking before the show that ACT is coming back. I actually interviewed the CEO. That's their thing. ACT is back, right? And so you view all these guys as partners, right? And in not competition, because if I buy a really great stereo for my car, you're going to be that woofer that makes it that much better, right? So let's say I'm
deeper and richer, just like that. Yes.
There you go. But let's say that I'm using Salesforce, we'll say, or Infusionsoft, and I'm doing okay with it. But you're telling me, well, if I also use your Selling to Zebras product, just maybe give me an example of how that's going to happen.
So what we actually either put directly into the CRM or leverage Selling to Zebras that completely integrates with the CRM. We actually work either through a partner of ours that implements it, or we do it direct, depending on the situation. But we help the client first define that perfect prospect. And the perfect prospect is something that it's measurable, and it comes up with 7 things you can measure, and it creates a visual because it's red, yellow, and green. And it allows you to set a strategy based on making sure that, first of all, you should engage. And then once the software helps you figure out you should engage, it shows you what you have to do, and it helps you prioritize what you do next. And then it helps you by starting the research. So it fills out a research, what we call the research dossier. That same information ends up helping you create the business case. So it's actually creating materials for you, versus a CRM is not to sound disparaging, but CRMs are kind of like sales exhaust. They're after the fact, right? Generally, you're telling the system about something that you did, whereas our software is interactive and proactive, and it's live with the customer. And then, because you get that interaction with the customer, and they see, in fact, they help you decide that you're in the right place. So you can even have them help you score your zebra. You can even talk to them about when they would, if they do have these business issues, when would they think they'd like to start working on solving them? So now you've got a collaborative agreement on when they would like to get started with your solution. And those things are all collected, and then it updates the CRM. It updates the CRM with your forecast date, with your dollar amount, the zebra score. So all of that is there. And if you think about CRM, it does many things we all need. We use CRM ourselves, and it does what you need, where if you send an email out, it captures it. If you have a live conversation and you tell the CRM about it later, or you put the next step in with a date, it captures all of that. So you still need that. But ours is the live discussion that you have with prospects that then can update what you used to have to do manually afterwards.
Interesting. So how did this all come to be? Is this something, did the book come first, or did the idea come first and the product, and then you wrote the book?
So we were in consulting. So I had partners, and we were in consulting for quite a few years before I wrote the book. And then we wrote the book, and we developed software around it, but it was Excel spreadsheet based. So it was pretty elaborate. It did ROI. It actually created Word documents and PowerPoint. I don't even know if you know that you can do that through Excel. You can actually generate customized materials that way. But yeah, but it's hard and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And it was mostly, we had to tailor this. It took months and months to create this for a client and then launch it. And then you had to train them not just on, how do you sell with a business case, and how do you raise the business acumen of your sellers so that they can converse this way. We also ended up helping them become really good Microsoft experts in using Office and the tools, and that's not what our goal was, right?
Yeah.
So about 2.5 years ago, we started designing our first version of the cloud-based software that would do the things that we just talked about. And now last year we proved it out. We put clients on the software. We were first, and we've now all of our clients are on our cloud-based version of the software. It's simple to use. We can get somebody set up quickly. It's a lot less expensive, and it's just available to so many more people.
Oh, congratulations. So it's been a step-by-step process, and it seems like that hockey stick growth is kicking in with this new product, huh?
It's all taken too long, Dave.
Oh, God. Step by step, baby, right? No, good for you. What is, personally, as really an entrepreneur yourself, what is your favorite part of the business? What do you enjoy doing the most?
I still love learning about other businesses. When we work with a client, we do what we call voice of the customer research within their customer base. And that helps us verify that the zebra that we worked with them to create is really right. We write up voice of the customer base case studies that become the proof for the business case. And when you do that, you'll really learn that business at a deep level. And I love to do that. I've learned so many different industries over the years. And from, automotive, pharmaceutical, certainly high tech and software. Med device, healthcare in general. I like doing that. And then figuring out, how do you quantify what, when you solve a problem, what is that worth? How do you figure that out? Because most companies really don't know. And we've become experts at doing that. And I like that.
Have you had some stumbles, some crashed and almost burned experiences along the way, Jeff, with your business?
We all do, right? So the first version, so this is actually, so if you count Excel as version number 1, that one was a success, but that took a while. Version number 2 was actually a desktop version. Like you mentioned ACT before, that was always on the desktop, right? Yep. That really was a failure. It didn't really do everything that Excel did, and we couldn't really replace Excel. So it was kind of like, now we have 2 pieces of software they're going to have to use, and that didn't work. In fact, the first 2 customers that we implemented, we never even should have, and we lost those customers.
Yeah,
and that was painful. But the third version, we got it right. In fact, before we did any coding, we designed that software. Our CTO made us think through every part of what we were doing, and should it really be in there, and could it be simplified? So we did that for a year, and we mapped it out, and that was successful. But We paid for, I wouldn't say that anything we did on the second version was wasted because we learned a ton,
Mm-hmm.
but we paid a lot for that education.
Yeah. Well, that's part of your badges, right?
Yes.
Yep. You wear, I remember I was in a class years ago with Vern Harnish, the founder of EO.
Yes.
About 60 of us in the class, and he said, "How many people have missed a payroll?" And about half the class raised their hand. And he's like, "Good for you." He's like, "That's a badge. That's one of your badges that you put on your jacket, And he goes, "That's just part of the journey of being an entrepreneur."
I have a saying, Dave, that unless, maybe you don't have to miss a payroll, but unless you have never experienced the fear of making payroll, you shouldn't even get to vote.
I like it. I like that. Yeah.
Because you just don't know what it's like until then, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's that feeling of your stomach coming right out in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah. 3 a.m. That's the wake-up call.
3 a.m. I know. What can we expect from you, Jeff, and your company selling to zebras in 2019? What's going to be kind of your focus and any new and exciting developments happening?
So AI is a big piece of what we've been focused on. So our first version of our software did what we do. But now what we're doing is we've put AI into the software so that it can start doing some more things for a salesperson, some more things that are automatic. So, for example, once you start having success, so your zebra's in the software, you score deals, our system forecasts based on that zebra score, and you have success. You close some, and the system starts to learn what value proposition worked, what the zebra score was, what industry it was. Our AI goes out and finds additional prospects that look like those customers. So, and it takes it deeper than just the standard, the demographic. So it's not just about the same industry, similar size, maybe even same location or whatever. It goes deeper. It goes into the culture of the company, which is what our secret sauce is, because that's, who is power? Who is the decision maker? And it finds more that are just like that. So then we're doing other things with AI, like automating the process of doing voice of the customer work that you heard me talk about before. So as you use our software and you sell with it, and then you start to use it to implement too, and your implementation team work with the client to say, okay, here's our next step on implementation, for example, or here's the next step in our relationship to get the most value from what you bought from us. You start to gather that information, and now we're creating live interactive voice of the customer using AI to say, here's why they bought, here's the value that they've received so far, and here's kind of the target of where you're taking them. And that way you can start to build in that library of stories that you have and proof of the value that you created for the customers. So that's really our focus for 2019 is to make AI truly functional for a seller so that those things that I just described to you verbally really work.
Great. So, Jeff, a lot of our listeners, a lot of the Avanti tribe are, they're beginning to middle stage entrepreneurs. Some of them are solo entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have, a few employees, 3 to 5 years into it. What's going to be your advice to these kind of burgeoning entrepreneurial companies to be able to hit the ground running with a successful sales strategy?
Don't give up.
Yes, I love that.
If you love it, you can't give up.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this now as a consulting company first. Started 19 years, in fact, 20 years ago this year. It's now 20 years that I've been doing this. And my hair was darker like yours at that time. So is my beard.
Yeah.
We've just figured out so many more things and so many more ways to bring the right kind of value to our customers that I just couldn't imagine not doing this. And if they still have that fire and if they still see the value that they can bring for their customers, focus on that and don't give up.
Yep. I love it. What is the best advice through the years that you've received, or maybe if you can remember the best, or some really, examples of good advice that some mentors or advisors gave you?
Learn how to say no, like we were talking about on the front of the show, right? That's what a zebra is all about. It's about saying no to things that don't fit you.
Mm-hmm.
Just because someone has money, just because they find you and they're excited about you, doesn't mean that you're right for each other. And if you, even we talk about payroll and laughing before. We all have to figure out a way to make payroll. But if you sign up for something that's going to take away from your focus of where you want to go, then you're probably not going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
The best businesses all zero in on what they're particularly good at, and then they focus on that and they become experts at it.
Yep. Jim Collins' hedgehog strategy, right?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
at one thing. And folks, if you haven't read Good to Great, read it. One of the Bibles, in my opinion.
I agree.
Next to this great book called Selling to Zebras, Jeff. But
Thank you.
yeah, so if those of you that don't know the hedgehog concept, it is from Good to Great with Jim Collins, which either Built to Last or Good to Great, one of his great books, right? And
Yep.
and the hedgehog concept is the reason the hedgehog has lasted all these years and outlasted many species and many of its we'll say adversaries is because it does one thing really well, and that's all it does well, is that when it is preyed upon and attacked, it quickly folds into its kind of armor shell and nothing can get at it, right? And it's the only thing it does well. And other than that, it's kind of a stupid animal, but it does this one thing really, really well, and it has survived hundreds of thousands of years, if not more, right? So Jim Collins takes that lesson for business owners. What's the one thing that you can, strive to be the best in the world at, and super hyper focus on that one thing, and don't try to be all things to all people, because then you become nothing to nobody, right?
It's very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stay away from hubris, which is another one of his books, right? Jim
That's
Collins.
True. That's true. Have an ego, but keep it in your back pocket, right?
Yes.
And you do that well, Jeff. You do that well. You're very successful. But
Well,
you're certainly not an arrogant, cocky guy. You have I'm sure you do have a good ego, but looks like you keep it in your back pocket.
Well, I've failed often enough, so it keeps you humble.
Keeps you humble. Hey, Jeff, this has been fantastic. If people want to learn more about you, buy your book, learn more about the Selling to Zebras software, what's the best places to go and the best places to get in touch with you?
Well, this is going to surprise you because we're going to announce this on your show, Dave. How's that for a scoop?
Excellent.
So as of yesterday, we are officially Zebrafy Incorporated.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Zebra FI. So Zebrafy. So if they go to zebrafy.com, they'll find us. And our website is still under construction, but a lot of it is there. But so we reincorporated because we're taking on funding. We're a new C corporation.
Cool.
We've refreshed all of our assets because the software has made us a new company. So we're brand new.
So you're inventing a word. You're going to zebrafy your sales, right?
That's exactly where it came from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it very much. And obviously, once again, zebra standing out, right? It's almost like Seth Godin's purple cow. If you're driving down the road, you see cows, you don't look, you see a purple one. Well, I'm going to stop and look. Driving down the road, you see horses. Not going to stop. See a zebra in upstate New York where I live. I'm probably going to what the hell's a zebra doing around here? Stop, bring the kids, check this out. So I like the concept a lot, Jeff, and congratulations on all your success. And truly happy for you. And of course, wish you massive continued success in 2019 and beyond.
Thanks, Dave. For you too.
Thank you so
much. Keep the podcast going. You're doing a lot of good work.
Thank you so much. You're episode 113. So I've been doing it for 113 weeks, believe it or not, right?
Wow. Well, you're a hedgehog, buddy.
I'm a hedgehog. I only interview really successful, good-looking entrepreneurs. That's my hedgehog concept.
Oh, then you changed your rules here this time, huh?
We make an exception. No, I'm just kidding. Well, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. We do have to go, and truly appreciate your time. And Avanti Entrepreneur listeners, appreciate your time as well. Thanks for stopping by, checking us out on the podcast. We also have the video version as well on our YouTube channel. Check us out on the web at AvantiEntrepreneurGroup.com, where we have this podcast, the show notes, links to Jeff's products, etc. And you and also can listen to the other 112 podcasts as well at AvantiEntrepreneurGroup.com. Make it a great day and stay awesome.
Thank you for listening. Head over to AvantiEntrepreneurGroup.com for show notes and more helpful advice from entrepreneurs like you. Continue to find your entrepreneurial rhythm at the Avanti Entrepreneur Podcast.